somebody say something about don't miss it.
Oh, I can't.
Be there.
Listen, be there because tonight it was on fire. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of a Wild Time podcast. We have had some awesome episodes lately. Just had the daughter of Jake the Snake Roberts, Brandy Smith, was on. I mean, you can go back, check that interview out. If you really want to find out what it's like to be a child of a iconic professional wrestler and the things they go through growing up and the cool moments they have also, I strongly suggest checking that out. Got to give a shout out to my sponsor, Bo's Tractor Works, the greatest CBD cream in the business. I couldn't get my workouts in. I couldn't take the body slams, the pile drivers, the suplexes without it. So you guys get a hold of Bo's Tractor Works and just give it a try. But today I'm excited because this icon, this lady that escorted me to the trampoline ring many times as a kid when I would come out as Tully Blanchard, is going to grace us with her presence. So, without further ado, before China, before Medusa, there was another beautiful valet out there that could take care of business if she needed to. She's managed some of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, from Tully Blanchard and the Four Horsemen to Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, America's favorite tag team. She's a pioneer for professional wrestling with the women. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you the Perfect 10, Babydoll. Babydoll, how is it going?
Going great. Super time in the life. This is the end of 2023. Looking forward to 2024 and seeing what's going on.
Oh my gosh. Listen, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. Like I said, growing up in the mid 90s, when I was a young teenager, like when the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars and everything was going on, I was such a student of the game that my homework was Starrcade 86, Starrcade 85, the Great American Bash 87. That was what I was renting and doing my homework on. So to have you on, like I said, you know, as Tully Blanchard coming to the trampoline to wrestle one of my buddies is pretty fun. You were right there by my side. And like I said, I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad to be a part of your history and such a good memory for you.
Well, I started doing I've always did my homework, but I wanted to get a little bit deeper, you know, into I guess your life and career. And did I read this right? You were training to be an EMT before you got into professional wrestling?
Mm-hmm. I was going to school at Texas Tech University. They've got a very big medical center out there. And I wanted to go into EMT and then paramedic. And the main goal was I wanted to go up to Colorado and do ski patrol. I thought it would be so cool to work in like the national forest during the summer, and then during the winter time, actually be like, if you're stranded somewhere, be the one that skis up and, hey, can I help you?
So you basically wanted to be an action star all your life. You wanted to be in some sort
of
adventure. That is killer.
I like the ta-da moments and think, ta-da, look what I can do.
I read you're a heck of an athlete too. So you were, I mean, like shot put, that was your game?
I was better at discus. I lettered in three sports. I lettered in volleyball, soccer, and track. And then I was varsity throughout high school. I set my high school discus record. Carrie Von Erich actually helped me with my spin and how to hold your hand and just giving that little extra at the end. And I actually beat my high school record. Was really good in volleyball and played 2 years in soccer. So yeah, I loved athletics.
So was that something, did you have any older siblings, brothers, sisters, or anything that kind of you grew up watching, or did you just take on sports, something you like yourself?
No, being like big and tall, I was like 5'10" in high school and just really athletic. And we lived next to Maxey Park there in Lubbock. It's a really, really nice park. So it's a little more than a mile to run around that. So that was nothing for me just to go out and run around the park. And having very athletic parents, like my mom's very athletic. My dad, they were going to the gym before it was chic to go to the gym. I pretty much followed in like my mom's footsteps because she was very athletic. Always wanted to look like her, have her physique, just be really attractive.
Well, I mean, you succeeded on those levels because I mean, I'll never forget I guess might have been a vignette of your debut or something when Tully comes to pick you up at the airport or something like that, and you get out and you're this beautiful, tall. I mean, honestly, China got over in the '90s, but you were that before that, but a beautiful, like feminine woman also. So I mean, what Vince had as Miss Elizabeth was, the yin and yang. You were that for Jimmy Crockett and those guys, and
Right.
also WCCW. I mean, was Gino how you kind of got into managing down in WCCW?
Well, it all started out, they were looking for a girl for Gino. And so I called the Dallas office and asked him, what about me? Could I work out? And they loved the idea because they didn't have to smarten anyone up. I was already right there, had the look that they wanted. And so I worked with Gino from Labor Day of '84 to Christmas of that same year, just a couple of months. And then I went on to Crockett. But it was just really being at the right place at the right time, having the look of what that promotion wanted. Both times that I hit it off big, I just got in contact with the right people at the right time, had the look of what they wanted, something unique. I think the very first one that I could consider would be Miss Linda with Adrian Street. I mean, they were 10 years in front of me. And then we had Nancy, Fallen Angel, also known as Woman, Nancy Sullivan. She was just a couple of months before me. I was kind of looking up time stamps of like where all of this started. It was really cool because when my mom wrestled back in the 50s, she was only one of 45 female wrestlers in the whole United States back in the 50s.
Wow.
So when you think of only 45 female wrestlers in the 50s, and now there's 1,000, when you think about it, when my daughter's wrestling now, my daughter's third generation on both sides of with her mom and dad. So grandparents, parents, and herself. She's the only third generation female wrestler on her mom's side.
Wow.
And then for myself.
Gotcha. All right, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. I think it might have muted you for a moment, but not long.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. You were talking about your daughter being the only third generation female wrestler at the moment.
Right. There's, I think they said because she had done an interview and they had done a little bit of history on it. I believe there's only 20 third generation wrestlers in all of the world, And that's Japan, Mexico, everybody, third generation. So she's one of only 20 on that. And that's on the father's side. But then on the mom's side, which is mom and grandmother, she is the only one. No other female wrestler has a mom and a grandma that wrestle. So that's really unique.
That is very unique. And that's something that, you can do so much with. I mean, I didn't even know this. I worked a show with Ricky and Carrie the other day at Shelby Valley High School in Pikeville. And I thought that Carrie was a second generation. I didn't know that Ricky's dad had wrestled also until Ken Cantrell smartened me up on it. So
yeah. Oh, he was he was a referee and a wrestler for a long time. Yes.
Wow. Third generation, man, that is awesome to say. And I really root for people like your daughter Samantha. I root for Brian Pillman Jr. There's so many of these kids, man, that have it. And with the companies, it almost feels like pro wrestling is starting to boom again. It went through a period there for a while.
If you're a fan of professional wrestling, I was thinking about this the other day. If you're a fan of professional wrestling, you have a little bit of everything, and everything is so available. I mean, WWE bought up all the libraries of like Mid-South, Crockett, everything. So if you want to go on Peacock or WWE Network, wherever you can find it, I found a match with my mom the other day on YouTube, and I'd never seen her wrestle. And so you've got the whole vintage collections. You've got AEW, you've got TNA, you've got WWE, and now NWA for all of those that want the territories back and want the old school feel of it. Billy Corgan has bought 2 territories now. He's got Tennessee and Ohio to go with his NWA brand. So that's going on. And their women's division is fire. I mean, their women's division is one of the best I've ever seen, with Kenzie Page as their new NWA women's champion. Camille had over 800 days as their champion. You've got Pretty Empowered, and of course, Samantha Starr, Ms. Starr, doing really, really well. She's been with them for a year. I can't say enough good things about NWA. Just so happy with the direction they're going. So many places for guys to work. If you're an indie guy or girl and you're not wrestling at least 4 to 6 times a month, you're not even trying.
Yeah.
So it's great, and there's a lot of really good stuff out there. And of course there's the indies, which you've got to support your indies, because those are the future stars. You never know where, if you're going to go to an indie show, where the talent that you've seen on that show, where they're going to be a year or 5 years from now. Because I've been doing indie scene for 15, 20 years now. And so many of the guys and girls that I've seen that were just starting out making the 100, 200, 300 mile road trips every weekend are now on AEW, WWE, and even with NWA and so many other places. It's a good time if you like wrestling, that's for sure.
It does. And, in my 20s, I got into MMA and boxing, but my true love was always professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I got 30 years old. I tore 2 biceps and dislocated both shoulders and stuff from fight and training. The fights I didn't get injured in the fights. It was always training. And then when I was 30, I was like, man, I think I'm going to give pro wrestling a try. And I wish I could have went back to 10 years prior in my 20s and had another decade, because it's been such a cool experience. I've got to meet a lot of legends, work with a lot of legends, and it's just it's a brotherhood, it's a family. I mean,
it is.
It gets in your blood, and you really just, it's like the mafia. Once you're in, you can't get out.
Well, and the good thing too now is, like with the fan fests and the legend shows, people that you might not have gotten to see in like the 80s and 90s, they're out. Like Magnum and Nikita are out a lot. Ricky Steamboat's getting out. Sergeant Slaughter. You just had like the Gathering in Charlotte, which was huge, and you had over 10,000 people go through WrestleCade Thanksgiving holiday. So if you're not so much into the new product and don't want to go to the shows, you've got so many of the legends and the fan fests going on also, which is totally different than 10, 15 years ago. We just didn't do those things. And now they're, like almost every month there's a big one.
Bobby Fulton does a really good one up in Chillicothe.
Oh, I'm up there in March, big time wrestling. I'll be there, and Missy Hyatt, and there's a bunch of us that are going to be there in March.
I noticed that because I was up at the last one. But this one here has got some of my favorite valets. I mean, you're there. Missy is going to be there. I think Terry Reynolds and Medusa is going to be there also.
Right.
And that is like, if you had Nancy, this is just me speaking. If you had Nancy, if she was still with us and you put them with you guys, that would be my.
Oh, it'd be great.
It'd be my.
And another one too is Dark Journey. Dark Journey comes out and does events with us every once in a while.
Yeah, I'd reached out to her, Linda, not too long about coming on, and she seemed interested. Our schedules and everything at the time were but she would be one I would love to have on.
Oh, she's great. She is absolutely wonderful. I got to travel a little bit with her in Mid-South, and just such an interesting and eclectic and smart. Oh my gosh. And the way that she sees diet and her body, and it's just, I love talking to her. She's really cool lady. Really, really, really.
Linda Newton, Dark Journey. I mean, absolutely.
Yep.
One of the first of her kind, beautiful African-American lady. I mean, she was, Dick Slater, I think she helped manage him.
Right.
I think she may have been.
Yeah, she first came in with Slater, but she did really, really well with Missing Link. Her and Link just clicked. It worked out really well with her.
I remember seeing the promo shots of those two together, and I never got to see that. You gave me some homework today, Baby Doll. So
Oh
when I go
yeah.
on YouTube today, I'll have to check out some Dark Journey and Missing Link stuff.
It was good because he just had the look, and with her and everything just going to the ring, it just clicked. It looked good.
Well, let me ask you something. Did you enjoy being a heel valet or a valet for the baby face better?
Oh, much loved being a heel. Absolutely loved being a heel. Being a baby face was very hard because you always have to be happy. You always have to have makeup on. You always have to, well, when you're a heel, you can put on the dark glasses and a t-shirt and just go and just to heck with it because you're a heel. But with a baby face, I don't want to say it's phony, but it's kind of phony because you're always having to be happy and signing the autographs. But if you don't feel well, it's just, but you still got to smile, and stuff. So for me, it was much more natural to be heel. Loved it. I loved pissing off 20,000 people when they didn't know who I was.
Well, you had actually, I mean, the heels that you come out with were, I mean, Gino was like, I mean, it's almost one of the saddest cases ever because when you think back of what may have been with a lot of guys, you have Magnum with the car accident, and then you have Gino Hernandez who was on fire as a heel. I mean, then you had Tully Blanchard, who still to this day, Tully, I meet Tully here and there at conventions or shows. And even when he's talking to you as Tully, you can get that feel that, I mean, he's got that natural heel to him, which is to me
Right.
something I
Natural,
appreciate.
like snarkiness. Yeah. He's kind of, just kind of cut sometimes, but that's him. That's just him. Um, I'm very blessed. I got to see Tully just a couple of weeks ago at the gathering. See him a couple of times a year. Get to see Magnum a couple of times a year. Really miss Dusty. I just miss Dusty a lot. Another one that I thought would be really good with conventions would be either Eddie Gilbert or Ray Traylor, Big Boss Man. I think that they would do so well with these conventions. Everybody just loved them.
Well, I hear so many good stories about Ray Traylor. I mean, everyone talks about what a great guy he was, and how all the boys and girls in the back loved him, and he was basically like a big teddy bear. And I mean, it's just
He was. It was really funny because we were down in Miami at a bar, and just I was good to go down and have like one drink and then go back to the room because you have to kind of make that celebratory appearance of like, hey, how is everybody, and then just dip out. So I'm standing there with Ray, and we've got our drink, and then he's like, Doll, he said, there's a man over there. I was like, yeah, Ray, there's a man over there. What? No, Doll, there's a man over there. And I'm like looking to see like what is he talking about? It was a guy dressed in drag, and he looked like Dustin Hoffman, like the in the movie. And it was very interesting to see Ray's reaction to someone dressed like that, because back then that just never, it's just so common to see everything. But
right.
for him, it's like, Doll, that's a man. And it just confused him so much. Like, why? I think it confused him more like, why would someone dress like that? Or why did he look like that? And if you're going to dress like that, put more effort to it. I think he was really disappointed that he didn't look better. I guess, I'm not sure.
And like those days, man, like you said, that was not, I mean, you didn't see that. Let's just put it
No,
that way. You didn't see
no.
that. For him to spot that was pretty comical, I would imagine.
Oh, it was pretty obvious because the guy, usually I put a lot of effort into it because changing everything of how you look takes a lot of effort. And so with him, you could definitely tell like the wig and the makeup, and especially like the lipstick, like the guy had like really thin lips. So he had really like overdrawn the lips so they look more feminine. He needed more. You could just see like he was just starting to get comfortable, like coming out into public, but he still needed to work on the look a little bit more. But Ray was priceless because that Doll, that's a man over there. And just that low Southern drawl. It was just so funny.
And Gilbert too, he had such a great mind for the business. When you go back and you listen to people talk about bookers and everything, you always hear Eddie Gilbert brought up into that conversation. So
Yes.
it would have been great to, like you said, those two, and I would have loved to have. I would love to have got to meet Rude and Pillman also. Those two guys are a huge inspiration to me. So yeah, the convention scene has definitely changed, but it's like you said, it's a blessing to us fans and the people we grew up admiring and looking up to and being influenced by, getting to meet them and pick their brains.
Exactly, exactly. And it's really fun because a lot of the conventions are very open and very fan friendly. Some of them, I mean, you can tell like it's very business, like get the signature, get the handshake and go. Well, a lot of the more southern conventions, I want to say, are much more fan friendly, where you can actually just go up and say hi to someone without having to spend a bunch of money and just for me it's fun because I love wrestling, and if I was a fan I would love to go. This would be something that I would really like to go to and just walk around and see everybody and just see everybody come out of character and in like regular street clothes.
Yeah.
It's just really fun. It's a good way for fans to see us, and I have as much fun as they do because I love hearing everybody's stories and hearing how much I was hated, and like the grandmother that couldn't stand me and would go shut off the TV, and it's I love it. I mean, I love the stories. I usually end up crying at least once because I'll have a story of this last time. It was an older gentleman that came up, and I had seen his friend, and my daughter had seen him. My daughter was actually working the merchandise table with me and had gone up and was just like, "Do you want a picture with my mom?" And he was just like, "Well, I don't have the money." And, "Oh, well, we'll take care of it. We won't tell her or something." So she got him over there, and we took a picture, and I signed a picture for him. And you could tell like he was in bad health at the time. And so just one of those moments. And so I saw his friend at a show this past summer, and we were talking about it. And he passed away a couple of years after that, and he was buried with my picture on his chest. And
Really?
I thought, wow, that's so humbling for me, just for that brief time to mean that much to somebody.
You never know the impact that you have on a person, even when you think you may not.
You
To
just
find
don't.
out, that's just,
And I think it was so cool because my daughter had spotted it.
yeah.
And my daughter brought him over there and took care of everything. And she's just so good with that. So just one of those little moments that I don't think fans realize how much they mean to us.
Right. Right. And something, it sounds like the apple don't fall far from the tree, because that's your daughter is such a sweetheart. It sounds like that she realized, that's just so awesome. I mean, and like you said,
Right.
you never know.
I've got two good girls. My oldest daughter, she's not so much into the wrestling. She's a musician, but she's like that too. She's always the one bringing like the poor hurt little animals. Like, "Here, mom, fix it."
Well, that's just part of being a mother. You're
Yeah,
always going
yeah,
to be
yeah.
the mother, taking care of everything, man. But that's a heck of a story right there, Nicola. Because I mean, fan,
Right,
as a fan and as a worker, not even on the stage you guys are, but even in this tri-state area, because I see fans that come down and they, like you said, they just don't have much. And if I can
right.
get a free picture, or I've had fans that you can tell don't have much at all, and they bring me stuff like, who am I? You know what I mean? Why would you bring me pictures of old wrestlers and stuff? Like, I mean, these guys, I'll tell you a short story real fast. I was working a show at Jenkins, and it was really there was a couple guys, and you could tell they didn't have much, honestly.
Right.
But they came, and he had a picture of Road Warrior Hawk that was real. Somebody had went to a show and took a picture of him and he gave it to me, and I'm like, "Dude, thank you so much." He said, "When you get big, you remember me." And I was like, "Dude, hey, listen, I'll never forget you, anyways." And it like you said, it's a humbling experience, because you never know what impact you may have on.
Right.
And that what you just told me, heck, that's a home run in the World Series, or that's a game-winning shot in the March Madness. That's as good as it gets.
Right. It's humbling to me to know, well, whenever I realize how many posters, like how many hallways I'm in, or how many bedroom walls, or like tucked away in a drawer or like a VHS tape somewhere. And I was just in the business for such a short amount of time, like barely just a little over 2 years. And the impact that I had and the stories I hear, to me, it's so humbling to think what little part I played and how much I really meant to somebody. It's crazy to me. And
I mean, I'm not just blowing smoke. I mean, like I said, I'm from East Kentucky. So growing up, we had the Crockett. You were a big deal. I always heard Babydoll, Precious, Sunshine. That was the women I heard about. The Northerner guys, they got, Miss Elizabeth and those. But down south, you were, you were the queen.
right. For a little while I had no idea. I was just running the roads and having a good time. I had no idea. Really had no idea.
Well, listen, you are. And I was going to ask you, I know that we talked about your valet, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but did you enjoy working the matches with Cornette and the Midnights?
It was fun working the matches. The promos were a little brutal. Being told that I shopped in the junior moose department and, was I really a girl? And, girls aren't normally my size and different things like that. Cornette, his promos were a little rough, but I mean, I made more money in July than I ever did in my whole life. It was, what I made in 1 month, most people make in a whole year. It was fun working with Bobby. Bobby just bumped his ass off for me. And then getting to work with like the Road Warriors, Rock and Roll Express, Dusty and Magnum. Shoot, it doesn't get any better than that.
No, it don't. I mean, the names you just mentioned right there is royalty. And you're right there with them. I mean, like I said, you don't realize the impact you had. I mean, you were working matches with these guys.
Right. And I had been in the business literally like 2 years, less than 2 years.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if you guys are watching and you love professional wrestling, go check out Babydoll when she teams with, like she said, the Road Warriors, Rock and Roll Express, or Dusty and Magnum against the Midnights.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, the way, like you said, Bobby bumped, man, he is I'll just say it. Bobby Eaton is the most underrated professional wrestler of all time. I mean,
well, I wouldn't say underrated because the people that know, we know. So, I mean, you're not going to tell someone that doesn't care or doesn't understand, how good he is, because for those of us that worked the ring with him, for those of us that knew him as a person and just the really, really awesome, just an awesome man and a family man, loved his family, loved Aaron, his wife, just a super guy.
Yeah. The way, I look back and I think about his finish, the Alabama Jam coming off that top rope. I mean, people don't realize how hard a wrestling ring is. Imagine coming off every night, maybe 2 times a day.
Right. And I made a mistake. I called his wife Erin. His wife is Donna. Aaron's wife is Erin. Bobby's wife was Donna. And I made his oldest son, I believe his name was Dylan, a little matching wrestling outfits, because I did wrestling tights for Bobby for a while, and I made him matching tights.
That's a good little piece of information right there. Didn't know you made the ties. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did several outfits for Midnight Express. I did a bunch for Freebirds. Jake, I sewed for about 200 guys there for a while.
Wow. Was money pretty decent there?
Oh yeah. It was, well, and what's cool is some of the guys still have my tights that they lasted that long. I really, because I knew the stress of what they were going through. And it's crazy now because guys work a couple of times a month and then they retire their gear, or they wear it once and get brand new gear. Those guys were wanting to get, 6 months to a year out of a pair of tights. So you really had to reinforce it. It was good.
Midnights, they always had that matching. Bobby'd wear the long tights, and then either Loverboy.
Right.
Well, I don't know. Did Loverboy match, or was it?
They hardly ever matched. I did. There was some rainbow stuff that I did for Bobby. I did some shiny. Well, not. It was Stan and Dennis, but I mainly did for Bobby. And then he had like the rainbow that went through with the stars. Mm-hmm. That was my stuff.
Man, that was awesome, and I never knew that. That was a heck. That was you learn something every day. I'm glad I found that out. And I know, like you just said, you were in the business for a short period of time. Your legacy lives on. But let's play a little game right here. Let's say Vince McMahon calls you in '89 and he wants you to come up and he says, "Listen, baby doll, you pick who you want to manage here, and the gig is yours." Who would you have chose?
Hmm. In '89, let me see it. George the Animal Steel.
Really? That would have been pretty. It would have been almost a Missing Link and Dark Journey like right there. Two
Yeah,
totally different looking. I mean, yeah, George Steele would have been a cool one. I mean, he was a
he
character.
would have been good. He would have been good. And then I had done an interview a while back. They were going through like everyone that I'd managed. And they were like, "You've managed like more people than some of the WWF managers." And I was thinking, yeah, I was up there with like Bobby and Heenan and Mr. Fuji. I was up in their numbers.
And you know, Mr. Fuji goes down, and people talk about how what a great ribber he was. I mean, he goes down as
Oh, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard. Don't leave your stuff out with Mr. Fuji because he would definitely take care of you.
oh shoot. Another question: if you were to could pick anybody in history, past, present, or future, that you would have liked to have managed, don't need to be any specific company. Who would you like to have managed?
Oh, wow. I don't know.
Was that a tough one?
If I could go back so
Yeah.
I could just see what it was like my mom.
Oh
If I
gosh.
could go back, that would be just to see her lifestyle,
Mhm.
just to see how she was back in the 50s because I know how she was as a mom, as a mother and on like that, but I didn't really know her like in the 50s. I would like to run the road with my mom for a couple of months.
That would have been perfect. I mean, that would have
Right.
been. I mean, after everything you've done, if you could have went and done that, because I mean, that's when it's all said and done. That's who we look up to, also as our parents.
Right.
I would have
Right.
loved to have, coal mines is tough work, but I would have loved to have been able to work a day with my dad and the mines just to appreciate what I got now, the job I got now.
Exactly, exactly. Just to see what it was like back in the 50s and run the roads and see what it was really because she never really talked about wrestling. She had one suitcase that had a couple of her outfits, had a bikini in there, had a jacket, had some of her little platform shoes, and had a couple of publicity pictures, but that was it. And we never talked about it at all. It was just something she never talked about.
Wow, that would have been a third, and you got Samantha, third generation,
Right.
and it,
And I'm fortunate enough I've been able to manage her and ballet for her and that's so much fun. I think that's like the best. That's like the out of all my career, like the cherry on the top is when I get to walk out to the ring with her.
You know, I was talking to Jake the Snake Roberts' daughter, Brandy Smith, the other day, and we were talking about how his life is so different right now, how what it's like being a grandfather, how involved he is with his grandchildren, and for at this stage in his life to be back with his ex-wife Cheryl, it's like you see a person that's really fell down and them climb back to the top after. I mean, it ain't been an easy climb, but to get back up there
Mm-mm.
and enjoy life with a smile, it's like, and to see you back out there with your daughter, enjoying doing what you did so well, and doing it with your daughter, who's getting a heck of a name right now, and as hard as can be. I mean, it's got to be a great feeling.
It is. I'm so happy for Jake. I mean, if there was anyone who hit rock bottom, it's crazy because I've had to deal with addiction pretty much all my life. My dad's part of the AA program. He was sober for almost 40 years. I've got all his old patches and cards.
Awesome.
So it's nothing new to me. So I grew up, with addiction and the perils of it and having to go through it. And when everybody says, like you hit rock bottom, everybody's rock bottom is different and everybody gets sick and tired at a different point and you just have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. But I think one of the best uh readings that I ever saw on something was when someone said that when you're in rock bottom, you're at the very, very bottom, you're at the depth of you're in the shit and the muck.
Yeah.
Well, what comes out of shit and muck? What do you use shit and muck for?
Growing.
Fertilizing.
Yeah.
Growing that flower, that's where your flowers grow. So you have to get down in the muck and the dirt and the whole thing so that you can regrow and reblossom. And I thought that was a really good way to put it. And that I'm happy for him. I think that Jake and Cheryl are now getting like the best versions of themselves.
Yeah.
I think that they're getting the version that they always wanted, and now they're old enough and mature enough that they appreciate each other. And I've been able to be with them on a couple of trips, especially when they were first starting to date and get to know each other again. You could just see how happy they were together, and that spark and that little smile and that little twinkle, just enjoying being with someone. And gosh, I'm happy for them. And even Sam's got a new wife, Kimberly. They're doing really well. And I've got a great husband and up here in Northwest North Carolina. So we're all doing well. All of us are doing super duper.
And that to me, that is as feel good of a story, just all the way around. That's as a feel good story as you'll ever hear. And Sam, another underrated, one of the best workers ever. I always thought Sam Houston was such a wonderful worker. And his story career, he struggled a lot with alcoholism and stuff. But I follow him on social media, man, and I swear he looks as good now as he did. I mean, if some of the pictures are that I'm seeing, man, he still looks like he could get in there and go if he needed to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody's doing so well. We're at a very good point in our life. Everybody's kind of straightened up and grown up, and kind of we know what to appreciate, and it's good. It's a good time.
Well, I'll tell you what, Babydoll, I cannot thank you enough for coming on. I don't want to take much of your time. I've got a few fast questions for you before we end. But like I said, thank you so much. Got to get Samantha on here soon. She's tearing it up right now, and we got to get her out there a little more. But I'm going to ask you a few questions right now. Jim Crockett Promotions or WCCW?
Either or what? The best?
Which one would you rather work to?
Oh.
Or which one did you have the most fun working in?
Oh, with Crockett. I mean, world class, it was fun and it was exciting and I was learning, but then I took everything that I learned from world class and I went to Crockett, and then I made like 4 times more money, a lot more trips. It's like having a gold coin. Yeah. You've got one side or the other, it's still a gold coin. So it's really good both ways. It's just different, it's different and it's the same. And gosh, I'd have to go with Crockett just because of the more money and better trips.
Gotcha. All right. What is your favorite band or musician?
See, that's not fair because it always changes. I'm just always.
That's fine. Right now, if you were, who would you listen to right now?
Y'all can check out my daughter. My daughter's song "Sun Showers Never Knots" is like one of my all-time favorite songs. I just love that song. It depends on my mood. Oh my gosh. Have to say right now, Brantley Gilbert. Brantley Gilbert's always kind of, for the past 10, 15 years, I've been a huge Brantley Gilbert fan, actually about 20 years now. Because my daughter, the little MP3 players, the little iPods, my daughter would download music on that so I could listen whenever I worked overnights at Walmart. I could have it clipped on the inside of my shirt and I could fade listening to music because we didn't have any music in my store. We were being punished for some reason. Grown adults punishing them by taking their music away. So she would so I did the Brantley Gilbert was one of my favorite ones.
Brantley Gilbert. My dad, he's a big country music fan himself. All right, favorite movie ever?
Favorite movie? Wizard of Oz.
Awesome. And the last one, actually 2 more. This one, if they made a movie about your life, who would you want to play you?
Okay, say it one more time because you cut out.
If they were to make a movie about your life, autobiography picture, who would you want to portray you?
Um, oh, I can't think of her name. Not Charlize Theron. She's too thin. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Oh,
Okay.
who was the one? Oh my gosh, the real tall chick that was in the Sylvester Stallone movies.
Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been good. I didn't think I was thinking Cameron Diaz, but yeah,
See, yeah, Cameron Diaz, like if Cameron Diaz and Sharon Stone would be good too.
yes. Hey, those are awesome. But yeah, Brigitte Nielsen, perfect. I mean, that would have been good. That was a good one. And your last one, I want you to give me your Mount Rushmore of female ballets.
Um, Missy, Journey, Sunshine, and myself.
Man, that is that's a beautiful, beautiful rock and up there. I would go the same route. I love Missy High, Dark Journey, yourself. I mean, that was perfect, perfect way to end. And like I said, thank you so much for just giving me a little bit of your time. Love to have your daughter on soon. I'm sure her schedule's crazy right now, but love to get her on here whenever she can. And
You bet.
and like I said, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the perfect 10 baby doll. How can they follow you? Is there something on
Oh
social
my
media?
gosh. Yes, I have Facebook, which I'm active on, and then Twitter. If you just Google my name, Nicola, Nickla, you'll have everything come up. It's if you message me, I'll probably message you back. I'm on there every day, and I like the interaction with the fans. I've also got oh my gosh, my Slam Buddy.
Oh, I've seen those all over social media. Yes.
Yep. I've only got 5 left, so this is they have been very popular. They've been crazier than what I thought they would be, but I've only got 5 left. So if you want one of them, just hit me up and I'll be able to get them for you. I've also got like really, really nice 8x10s, and then I've got a show in Tennessee on the 16th. I've got Lenore, North Carolina in January, and then um, Chillicothe, Ohio in March for Bobby and Fulton and Dylan Hines. And then in May, I'm going to be up in New Jersey. So already the calendar is getting full.
The black book is starting to get full.
I know, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. Love it. Absolutely love it.
I can't thank you enough. You're iconic. You're one of the greatest. And like I said, the story you told about the fan, man, that's going to stick with me for a long time. And you never know what impact you have. And,
Right?
I could go on all day, but I thank you for being on. And I know a lot of people are going to love this one. So I'll see you on down the road, Nicola Baby Doll.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.